Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Julie. Funny seeing you here on Sunday night at 9:50.
Well, we weren't planning on doing this. I also wasn't planning on popping out a 1,000 word column on CNN tonight. In fact, I had not even planned on being on CNN tonight, but CNN reached out to me and asked me to go on their Sunday night show. And by the way, I like doing the show because I really like the regular anchor who's there. She's
Mm.
wonderful, but she was not on tonight. Some other guy was who I'd never been on before. And interestingly, I was on with my old sparring partner, Scott Jennings, who I had been, as far as I know, banned from being on the last time I told him to go suck it on Abby Phillips' show. Like a year, like I don't know how long ago it was. Must have been 6 months ago, 8 months
It was
ago.
a while ago. Yeah, because he called you a liar.
Of course,
Um,
which is what
and
he did.
it was the same week that Tara Setmeyer was on as well, on a different night of the week, and she had challenged Scott as well. And as far as I know, has not been invited back. With him, because I know she's gotten a couple invites and hasn't been able to do it, but
Right.
certainly I'm sure not with Scott, because he can't
Yeah.
handle women
He
who
can't
have
handle it.
opinions or voices or
Yeah,
any of the
and
above.
people in the chat are telling me like, he was on with Lev Parnas and Lev Parnas gave it to him. That's great. Lev Parnas is not a woman. Scott has
Yeah.
a particular problem with women, and it's not just Tara Setmayer, and it's not just me. It is other women. There are literally, whether CNN knows this or not, like threads, like chats with women who all talk to each other, who are like,
Yep.
"Oh yeah, I haven't been invited back on with Scott Jennings
Yeah.
since I
I can
handed."
confirm. I can
Yes.
confirm. Yep.
So the reason I say all this is because like today was really the last straw, because what ended up happening was I don't have listen, I used to have Scott Jennings show. Like this is the part that Scott Jennings doesn't get. He thinks he's the heel on CNN because he's one of the few Republicans on CNN. First of all, give me a break. There are plenty of Republicans on CNN. But not to mention people who I may not agree with, but are polite and lovely people. David Urban, always very nice. Sure, Michael
Mhm.
Singleton, always very nice. You don't have to agree with them. You don't need to like them as people to understand that they have a point of view and they politely express it. Scott Jennings is not
Right.
that. Scott
No.
Jennings is a loudmouth, insecure troll who thinks he's Donald Trump, so he decides he's going to behave like daddy, which is what he does, right? And
Mhm.
bottom line, what happened tonight when I was on CNN was inexcusable, which is that every time I would open my mouth to stop speaking, Scott Jennings would interrupt me. Now, let me say again, I used to be the Democrat on Fox News for many, many, many years. I know what this job is like. And the way the job was supposed to be done, whether it was me back in the day or Jessica Tarlov on Fox News today, is you state your point of view and then you sit there and you let other people state their point of view. You don't scream over them, you don't shout over them, you don't interrupt them. And the anchor, if that happens,
Mm.
should shut you down. Now, I don't know who the hell is running CNN, but I think it's Scott Jennings, because never does he get shut, like ever does he get prevented from behaving this way. Ever.
Yeah, it always seems to me, just as an outsider who consumes the news, that whomever is the anchor of the show, it always seems that Scott somehow has the upper hand. Like always, that always feels like the
He's
dynamic, at
rude to
least
the
from where I sit.
anchors. Listen, he's rude to the anchors. Like
Yeah,
when
he's a smug asshole.
he's awful to the anchors. Like apparently he's been given permission to behave any way he wants, and
Yep.
that's that. And obviously, because what happens happens. And let me just say this. And I'm gonna literally, I was so angry about this tonight that I
Mhm.
wrote an entire, as I said, 1,000 word column about this. He doesn't debate, he blathers. He specifically talks over women with particular frequency, interrupts relentlessly, and treats panel discussions as contests of volume and obstinacy rather than as exchanges of ideas. That's what they're supposed to be, Michelle. You're supposed to exchange ideas. One person thinks A, the other person thinks it's B. Let's all talk about what we think. No. What he does is he mugs to the camera, he rolls his eyes while calling any fact he doesn't like a lie, and it's performative obstruction. It is the cable news equivalent of flipping the board when you're losing the game.
Mhm.
That's what it is, right? That's not spirited debate. It's not. And he's also a liar. he is a liar, which is the last thing I said to him before we went to commercial break. Because he does. He just lies, right?
Yeah, I had to rewind that a couple times. I'm like, what did she say? And then once I was like, oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. I'm glad you did.
Well,
I'm
because
glad
they
you did.
play the music over me. But yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
you know, this is what he does. And CNN allows him to do this. And I'm telling you right now, I wrote this column. It'll probably get me banned from CNN. I don't give a rat's ass. There are more people reading the Substack tonight than watch in the demo for CNN tonight. Like, I don't care. What CNN doesn't seem to understand is they need us, the content creators, a hell of a
Yes.
lot more than we need them.
Yeah.
Just a fact. Just a fact. And I don't know if they keep him around because they're worried that Barry Weiss is going to take over, and that all of a sudden, if she takes over, suddenly he's going to be in charge, or if they keep him around because they think somehow he gives them access to the White House. Like, I don't know why they keep him around. He's got this new Salem radio show that they gave him, so maybe they think he's going to bring some of his viewers over there. No, my friends, MAGA is not going to watch CNN because Scott Jennings is on it. They're only going to watch CNN if Donald Trump tells them to watch CNN. And Donald Trump is not going to tell them to watch CNN because there's no amount of ass kissing you will ever have for Donald Trump to tell them to watch CNN.
And that goes, that goes against, his entire brand of like sticking it to cable news, sticking it to CNN, MSDNC, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, he's not going to do that.
Fox News anymore, and all they do is suck his, you know what? Like, come on.
Sorry, it's not funny, but
come on. So I don't know what the hell is going on at CNN. CNN is run by Mark Thompson. Mark Thompson, before he ran CNN, ran the BBC and the New York Times. This is the network that you're now running with this troll from Kentucky,
who's 48 years old. He's in his 40s. Just in case people didn't know that.
In case you want to wonder what, like, being Donald Trump's bitch gets you. That's
right.
That's
well, it was shocking information to learn. That's all.
So, he desperately wanted to be Donald Trump's press secretary. Now, I spoke to somebody who I'm friends with, who during Trump 1 worked very, very closely with Trump. And this is somebody I've known for a very long time. And I can't say we're friends because obviously anybody who works for Trump, I can't really, abide by it. But I know him well enough to have conversations with him when I run into him in the green room. And he's laughing at Scott Jennings. He goes, this guy thinks he's going to be the White House press secretary. Is he blonde? Is he a woman? Like, has he looked to see what Donald Trump likes in his press secretaries? Like, what? Does he look like Kayleigh McEnany? And of course, that's not who he went with. Donald Trump went with a 27-year-old blonde woman.
Yeah, whom he makes pretty consistent comments about her lips and grabbing her the other day is what he said. I mean, come on.
Yeah. And then, of course, he worked for Mitch McConnell. That's an unforgivable sin. Unforgivable.
Yep. Where was he on January 6th, Julie?
Scott
Jennings. Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me answer that question, Michelle. Scott Jennings was on CNN saying that he was done with Donald Trump. He was never going to go back. Donald Trump was a disgrace to humanity. And there's no amount of sucking up to Donald Trump that will get Donald Trump to forgive that. Ever. They use him like the useful idiot that he is to, Well,
this is what people never learn about Donald Trump. No one ever learns. There's no amount of sycophancy and sucking up and bending over for Donald Trump that will ever be enough for him. Never, ever.
Yeah. And
everybody gets burned. I mean, as my former colleague says, everything Trump touches dies, and it is absolutely accurate.
And let me go a step further and say that if you don't believe us, look to see what Bill Cassidy did today. Bill Cassidy, from the senator from Louisiana, voted to convict after January 6th, right? Did the right thing. Bill Cassidy then, after Trump gets elected, decides to get on his knees and beg Trump for forgiveness by voting for Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s nomination to proceed, despite the fact that he is a doctor and
he's a physician.
He's a physician. He knew exactly what Kennedy was going to do. But he was worried.
Anybody with half a brain.
Yeah. He was worried that Trump was going to come out against him. So he threw away his Hippocratic oath, understood full well that all these immunizations that Bill Cassidy had spent years advocating for, especially in a poor state like Louisiana,
Mhm.
now we're going to lead to mass death and destruction. And he nevertheless decided to throw away any semblance of his integrity in order to curry favor with Donald Trump in the hopes that Trump would endorse him for re-election. Well, guess what Trump did today, Michelle? What did he do today? Today, Donald Trump endorsed Bill Cassidy's opponent.
Of course he did.
And so Cassidy's going to
Yeah.
lose. Yeah.
Listen, he flips over, you know, these Republicans like he does wives and women. Like, come on. Like, that's the other thing about this is like, look at the last 79 years of this man's life. We know so much about him because he never shuts up. He's never gone away, especially if you lived or have grown up in the tri-state area. We know who Donald Trump is. We know who he is, and he's a vindictive monster.
Yep.
And again, like, I don't know what it's going to take for people to think that they're not special. You're not special. No, his own kids aren't special enough for him.
Nobody's
I
special
don't know,
enough.
like, I don't get it.
Yeah. So Scott Jennings thinks that he's suddenly going to be
Oh
crawling
God,
back
no.
to Trump, and Donald Trump is going to suddenly elevate him to press secretary, or even better, he, of course, desperately was auditioning to be Mitch McConnell's replacement in the Senate. Remember that little trial balloon? Oh, I'll run for Senate if the president wants me to.
Oh yeah. That
Oh,
that
yeah,
went
because,
well.
because every people were lining up, begging for Jennings for Senate in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Begging.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
let me tell you something. CNN needs to get a grip. It used to be the place where people would go when there was real breaking news. They had a brand, they had value. People would go to them. They have real journalists working there. They had real journalists working there.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I mean, anytime there's like serious news, especially abroad, I mean, CNN is the go-to. It's always the first thing I turn on. You know, they have incredible reporters stationed all around the world. And it's a shame. It's a shame that they're you know.
I'm going to read what I wrote to them today, to one of the people at CNN today. I'm just going to read it out loud because I really don't care because they haven't responded. So I want the world to know what I sent CNN today after I did my hit today.
Mhm.
Hey, thanks for inviting me, and I'm always happy to do your show, but please pass on to whoever is in charge over there that if they invite a woman on, they should probably allow her to speak without constantly being talked over and interrupted by a man and a male anchor who won't control him. I'm happy to debate anyone, but not if I'm not given an opportunity to say more than 3 words without being shouted down. As an aside, there is literally a chain among female guests about Scott Jennings' attitude towards women, so I don't just speak for myself. Feel free to share this with whomever you need. You think that would merit at least a response, like, got it, sorry, that shouldn't have happened.
No way. No way.
No way.
And I listen, I'm not going to speak for anybody, but I know people who have said things to bookers and producers after having a very negative experience on the network and was met with again
Them being
being
banned. The women being banned, not Scott.
Right. And the person who did the thing and said the thing was like on the next week.
Yeah.
Again.
Oh no. I mean, I'm fully cognizant that by doing this and by writing this column, my days at CNN are probably over. And to be honest, I don't really like.
Who cares at this point? I mean, listen, anybody watching this, you know, we're streaming this to Substack, Julie Substack, and we're streaming this to the Mayday Network on YouTube. If you're watching this, you're watching independent media. And that is not only the future, it is the present. And anybody who is a consumer of independent media knows that probably better than anyone. Think of the people who you go to first when you want to hear some analysis of something that's happening in the news. And, you know, I think that CNN knows what's going on. I think every cable news network does. Every legacy media company does. And they can't compete with it. And they refuse to adapt. So what do? They lean in. They lean into what they think is going to keep them alive longer. And that they lean into things like Scott Jennings. And, you know, and for anybody watching on Substack who doesn't know who I am, I'm Michelle Kinney. I co-founded the Mayday Network with Julie. You know,
Come join us here every morning.
Come join us over at the Mayday Network. And, you know, I also co-founded a women's organization called the Seneca Project, which I actually just left so that I could do this, because Julie and I understand what all of you understand, is that we need more voices in the room, because CNN and other legacy media like CBS is not only regurgitating lies, but platforming them. And that is not something that we can give our eyeballs or our time to any longer. And I'm not someone who goes on cable news. I've been on cable news one time, and half the time of it, I bit it. It was it was not great. But so I feel like I can say this also, because who gives a shit? I don't understand why people don't understand who my friend Julie Roginsky is here. And I know Julie's not going to say this, so I'm going to say it. Julie Roginsky took on Fox News. She took on Roger Ailes and Rupert Murdoch, and she won. She won like a lot of other women at that network did, because they experienced sexual harassment. And it was the beginning of the Me Too movement. She then went on to take on Governor Phil Murphy in the state of New Jersey when she was working on his campaign. Yet again, a victim of standing up. I know you weren't, but you were standing up for victims of sexual assault on that campaign. Julie stood up and spoke up for the other women on that campaign, and she was not only punished, she was fired. And she was beholden to an NDA. And again, she fought it, she won. And not only did she win, she went on to pass legislation to make sure that this would never happen to anyone ever again. So the optics here of someone like Julie Roginsky, who runs, again, a nonprofit called Lift Our Voices with Gretchen Carlson, whose sole purpose is to fight for women in the workplace. Oh my God. The optics of this are garbage for you. Really bad. Really, really bad. So when you continue to lean into people like Scott Jennings, who very clearly has a problem with women, and not only women who speak up and stand up for themselves and are treated like this time and time and time again. And Julie is not the only one. And I know that for a fact, because I have talked to women who've been on CNN and had a very negative experience. So I say all that to say, Julie's not someone to be messed with.
Well,
I'm just saying, but again, you're someone who doesn't, you're not someone who takes this lightly by any means. And you spend a lot of your time not only standing up for yourself, but other women as well. And so I think that is why it is so important and so admirable that you wrote the column that you did tonight, because it needed to be said, and it needed to be said by someone who has the platform to do it, and I know you have a big following on your Substack.
yeah.
And so I applaud you. And that's why we were like, let's go live. I'm like, let's talk about it, because it's a problem. It is a problem.
By the way, Shelley Tolles, we need a movement to make NDAs illegal. Yeah, we have a movement. It's called Lift Our Voices.
It's called Lift Our Voices, and that's what Julie's doing. We have
made NDAs illegal. We made NDAs for pre-dispute, NDAs for sexual harassment and assault illegal, and making them illegal for a lot of other things.
Yeah. But that's my 2 cents.
You're asking what happened. Does anybody here know what happened? Yes. What happened is this. I went on CNN tonight. I was invited onto CNN. Let me preface this by saying it is a Sunday night. Michelle knows I've been a little under the weather the last couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
I've been working really hard on a project the last, I don't know how long, and I'm very tired. So for me to go on, and I do not get paid to go on CNN.
Yeah.
So for me to go on CNN tonight was not something I was dying to do. But as I said, I really, really, really like the usual Sunday night anchor who was not there tonight. She was unfortunately off. So if she asks, I will always do. She was not the one asking, but I assumed it was for her. I go on, and then I'm told that I'm going to be on with Scott Jennings. And I thought, oh, okay, well, the last time I was on with Scott Jennings, I stuck it to him so hard.
Yeah.
I got banned from doing that show for a very long time. And I don't know about banned, but suddenly I wasn't invited back to do that show for a very long time.
And I'm sure if you asked them, they'd be like, no.
But it's interesting because who've done that with Scott Jennings also don't get invited to be on with him anymore.
Yeah.
So
there's a pattern.
So I was like, oh, okay, let's see if Scott Jennings gets me canceled. This will be interesting. And he didn't. And so I was like, all right, we'll go out with Scott Jennings. So I go on with Scott Jennings, and he just proceeds to have a monologue, like a monologue.
Oh God, it was like, yeah, my
Like,
husband and I were looking at each other like,
yeah.
are they
And
gonna let Julie
and I
talk?
well, I was like, I can't even speak. Like, I'm still not into this. And then we go to commercial break, and then we come back. And not only does he continue to have a monologue, but then anytime I try to say something, he interrupts me. He
Mhm,
just shouts over me. I mean, Michelle, you saw that clip over and
mhm,
over and over again. And I was like,
mhm.
you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to just speak up because there are plenty of women. Like CNN has to realize this. There are literally, and I said this at the top of the show, there are literally chains of women having text message exchanges with each other about
Mhm.
how they get the best of Scott Jennings and then they're not allowed to go back
Yep.
on it.
Yep.
Happens all the time.
So much that it sometimes makes headlines. Like,
Yeah.
take him on in that way because for whatever, again, this is when they're booking guests on panels and, on a number of shows on CNN, it's they don't really book people who will take on Scott Jennings. Like that's the thing by design, it seems, right? I mean,
I don't
I
know.
don't think it's a coincidence.
I don't know. But all I know is I've never had a problem when I've debated David Urban or Michael Singleton or any of these people because they're
Right.
polite. And so you
Yeah.
don't get personal.
Hmm.
And, he's a baby and he's thin skinned and he's insecure and he can't really debate other than go like this.
Oh,
Oh, the
so
mug.
you have a line in your Substack saying that he's constantly mugging to the camera, and that was one of the lines that really stuck out to me because he's performing, and he appeared on a podcast this past week actually and was asked, what he thinks about what it is that he does, and he was asked, "Do you like Hollywood?" And he's like, "Yeah, I like Hollywood." He's like, "Well, what do you think it is that you do?" And he said, "What he does is showbiz."
Yeah.
He thinks he's showbiz.
You guys, this is a guy who was kissing my ass.
Mm-hmm.
Could not have been nicer to me when it looked like Kamala Harris was going to win that election.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I tell you there was a whoop,
Oh
yep.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um,
The
so
desperation like reeks from
so
him.
here's
It's
what I'm
like, what's that?
going to do. I'm going to drop this Substack that I just wrote into
Mhm.
the chat. I want everybody to disseminate it. I don't care how you put it on social media. I never ask people to do this, as you know, ever,
Yeah.
ever, ever. I never ask people to do this. I need people to understand that this is bullshit. It's bullshit.
Mhm.
And it needs to get out there and it needs to be disseminated. Do I think CNN's going to do anything? They're not going to do jack.
Mhm.
But when they have to understand why people no longer watch them and why I get more people reading my Substack than they get in the demo, it's because there are trusted sources who tell the truth. You might agree or disagree with me, but at least I don't lie. And then there are people like Scott who just lie and they platform the lie. And then what they do is they have Julie saying the earth is round and they have Scott
Yeah.
saying the earth is flat and they give it equal weight. And
Yeah.
worse, they allow him to talk over people who are saying the earth is round.
Yep. Yep. And another thing that you say in your Substack too is you point out how how confidently he says how he lies. He lies so confidently and he's so loudly and he's loud and he's wrong. And for that reason only, I mean, he just bulldozes over everybody. And
Yeah,
again, is never managed by the person in the chair. Never,
never,
never.
never, because they're in charge of him
Hmm.
and or he's in charge of them, I should say.
Yeah.
It's just absurd. It's just absurd.
Hmm.
Anyway, I, I'm I mean, I don't know that I've been this pissed off in a long time. I'm not pissed off at him. He is what he is. He's just a scumbag. Like he is what
Yeah.
he is.
Yeah.
What pisses me off is why do I even like
Yeah. It's a symptom of a much larger problem.
a much larger problem? This is what legacy media has become.
Yep.
This is what it's become.
Yep.
Where you
This
clap-
on Face the Nation this morning on CBS. I mean, it's metastasizing.
you know what it is? They're all terrified that the Ellisons are going to acquire
Mhm.
CNN, and they're terrified that Barry Weiss is going to be in charge of them, and they're all terrified they're going to be eventually working for Scott Jennings. And by the way, they probably will be.
Yeah.
But by that point, who the hell is going to be watching them? Look at what's going on at CBS right now. They
Yeah.
just over CBS. That whole crew took
Something
over.
like 25% drop in ratings. Yeah.
It's not like it's going to get any better.
No.
Great. So you're going to have a bunch of 80-year-olds who are watching cable news, continue to watch CNN for a while, and then they're going to be like, you know what, this is not my cup of tea, which is exactly what happened to CNN.
Yeah.
I can't wait for this whole crew. And I said this to Scott today, and he's like, those are Democrats. Those are Democrats. Every time these MAGA,
Oh my God. It's
every
like
time these
the
MAGA
most tired, but I told, I know you are, but what am I? It's so tired.
no, what he really was like, oh, you're talking about the Democrats. We were talking about where I said, like, yeah, the other people who were disobeying orders, apparently from the police,
Yeah.
the way that people with
Right. People like turning the hose on people. Yeah.
the people who are turning the hose on protesters on the bridge in Selma.
Yeah.
Oh, those are Democrats. Oh, good one, Scott. Oh, okay, you got me, buddy.
Yeah, well, because he just assumes that people watching are so stupid that they don't understand, or do they know what happened after 1965 in the Southern strategy? Like they don't, like he just assumes people are dumb and don't know. And
Yeah.
that's why he says things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because he gaslights. That's what he does. He
Mhm.
gaslights. That is all he does.
He's a garbage
all he
person.
does. And then, as I
Mhm.
said, when he can't win, he flips the board
Yep.
over.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what he does. I mean, he's a total
Scott
loser.
needs his safe space. He needs his safe
Yeah,
space.
that's exactly what it is. He needs a safe space. He needs his safe space, and
Mhm.
CNN is providing it for him, and
Mhm.
that's what it is.
Yep.
So, like, let's be very clear about what's happening.
Mhm.
That's what's going on over there. And I'm just not doing it anymore. Like, I'm not doing, first of all, not that I'm ever going to get an apology from them, but they owe it not to me, they owe it to their viewers.
Yeah.
Like, you watch that, Michelle. Did anybody on earth need to be subjected to that shit show?
No, I mean, the only reason I turned it on is because I knew you were on.
No,
And
think about it. Like you're
yeah,
watching the viewer.
I will say it is, how do I say this? It's emotionally like kind of exhausting to watch these panel shows and watch people argue. The news and all the information that is coming in daily, and obviously over the last 10 years especially, but this past year has been especially horrible. To then turn on your television and try to get information from people you trust or from places that you trust, and instead have to hear from people like Scott Jennings spew lies and talk over women and shout and just be a smarmy asshole. Like it's exhausting. People don't want to watch it anymore.
No need. No need.
Nobody, like, who wants to watch that? I mean, honestly, every time, no offense to Abby Phillip, like, I know she's a very nice person, but like her show is unwatchable. It's unwatchable. It's I don't know who watches that and gets something out of it. I feel like I'm watching political Jerry Springer.
It is political Jerry Springer. And that's what they want because it gets
Yeah.
views, it gets ratings, and it gets clicks, and it goes viral, and they get all excited because media writes about it. I'm sure media will be writing about my little altercation here. And you know what my attitude is? Really? Like, this is what you've become?
Mhm.
This is what you've become.
Yep. Yeah. I it's a sad state, but like we said before, and I guess this is a little bit self-serving because this is what we're trying to do, is build an independent media network here at Mayday. But like it's not just us. There's a bunch of people and creators and companies and trying to do the right thing here in this space. And that it's not just the future, it is the present. It is the present, and they are terrified. They're terrified of independent media. They're terrified of the big corporate overlords that are coming in to steal their jobs in different ways. And they're just debasing themselves in the process. It's
They
awful.
don't understand. I had this conversation with an anchor at CNN, a prominent anchor at CNN, about 6 months ago. We were talking about Substack, and she's like, "Is that a thing? Like, are people really
Oh my
making?"
God.
And I said, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like,
Well, and also I heard, and I'm not going to name names, but there was a bigger name over at CNN who has said to the people on their staff, like, no one's allowed to be on Substack or have a presence over there.
okay, well, they're losing out.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, because there is this, like, no one's allowed to be over there.
Okay, guess what? There's a lot more people over here than there is on CNN.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And and to think that who was that guy tonight that was moderating?
I don't even know who that guy is. I don't know his name.
He was very he was gave some kind of regional news energy, but it was to think that that CNN lets people go like Jim Acosta, a serious news person. He's a serious newsman. To let him go for this clowning is again, like people show us who they are.
Like,
Companies show us who they are.
yeah.
And this is who they are.
And for what? To have people, I mean, like, who can hear anything when people are shouted down? Who can hear anything? What are you getting out of this by allowing this man to shout down women?
Yeah.
So he was going to shout, so I'm going to have to shout back at him. So now we're all going to be shouting at each other.
Everyone's shouting, right?
Everyone's shouting, and the anchor is like, I don't know what to do. How about you learn how to moderate, buddy? And you see Scott.
Yeah. There are some people over there that are good at it.
It's not hard, Scott. Let her speak, let her finish, and then you can have your point.
Yeah. I know. It's and the thing is that's, legacy media has been complicit in the place that we are in as a country right now too. And so I blame them. I blame them for where we are. And I think a lot of people do. And hold resentment for it. So when you, again, like that, when ICE is going door to door and dragging people out of their homes in Minneapolis, and you have the host of Face the Nation this morning questioning the mayor of Minneapolis, saying, is that a bit much? Is that a bit overboard, when he said that they were living in an occupation? Or when you turn over to CNN and it's just a shouting match, and you have to listen to Scott Jennings like lie and spin and propagandize everything towards Donald Trump. It's hard to even turn your TV on these days. Honestly, I don't watch it. I really don't. I used to. I don't anymore.
I don't know. I mean, look, it's when I say it's jump the shark, it's jump the shark. They don't want to be like a creator. They kind of want the best of both worlds, right? But they're getting the worst of both worlds. On the one hand, they want to have this kind of creator energy where they allow people to kind of say what they want and not really worry about formality anymore. And on the other hand, they don't know how to control their own people. I mean, they don't know how to control their own people. I've got to say, if that ever happened when I was on Fox, if I ever treated a guest like that, that would have been the last day that I was there.
Yeah.
I mean, never, ever would have happened. Ever. It's just, I don't know. The whole situation.
I know. It's infuriating and it's exhausting. And it's like, add the other layer of trying to be a woman and do any of this too. You know what I mean? It's a different experience.
If you notice, he shouts down the women. I don't know how he treats the men, but I've been on enough panels with him.
He's much more cordial. I mean, I've watched it.
Yeah.
Because when he was on, I think he was on with like David Axelrod or something, and they were like sparring, but he was like respectful about it in a way. You know what I mean? Well, he's never that way.
He's respectful of David Axelrod because David Axelrod, in his mind, has access to Barack Obama, and you never know when Scott Jennings might need Barack Obama. Like, that's how Scott Jennings thinks, right? Like, David Axelrod has contacts with Democrats, and one day Democrats might be in charge, and therefore David Axelrod will be helpful to him. He has not a clue as to what is coming. Not a clue.
None whatsoever.
I mean, people are going to be talking about Scott Jennings, and not so long from now, the way they talked about people who were defending those who opened up fire hoses on protesters.
Yes.
In Selma, Alabama.
Yes.
And no, Scott, not because they're Democrats. You fucking moron. Good one, Scott. Very smart. I mean, I'm sorry.
Ted Cruz and JD Vance had a baby. It would be Scott Jennings. I mean, it's where's the lie? Where's the lie? There is no lie.
You guys
just have to laugh at some point,
Just wait. because those days are coming. They're coming soon because, as Martin Luther King said, who, yes, Scott, I guess was the Democrats who opened the hose on him too, asshole. As Martin Luther King once said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice.
Mm-hmm.
And it does bend towards justice. And all of these people who gave up and subsumed all of their values,
Yeah.
everything they ever stood for, because Scott knows better. He knows better.
That's the thing. It almost makes it worse.
Yeah.
I don't know if I mean, I'm sure people are going to disagree with me in the comments about that, but like people who know better who aren't true believers. You know what I mean? They're not part of like the cult. They're leaders of the cult who are knowingly lying and knowingly persuading. And it's worse. It's worse to me. I don't know.
Yeah, because he knows better. And,
Yeah.
you know, he will
History will not be kind to him.
History will not be kind to him. I don't know about his kids. His grandkids will be ashamed.
Oh yeah.
Nobody will talk about what grandpa did
Mm-mm.
back in the 20s.
God, don't say that.
I know, but it's true.
Yeah.
It's true because this is the most dark, disgusting period of our lives. It is probably the most dark and disgusting period in our nation's history since the Civil War, if not before.
Mm-hmm.
And there are mouthpieces who care so much about approval because daddy needs to give them approval because apparently they didn't get it at home when they were growing up.
Listen, remember after the election, this past election, that they were all wearing the shirts that said daddy's home? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Daddy
that's not far off. Like, it is a daddy issue.
Yeah. Daddy said he's going to invoke the Insurrection Act, so now Scotty's going to say that we should invoke the Insurrection
Act. That's the other thing, is he's going on TV, and he's been doing this the last few days because clearly, you know, the talking heads and the, you know, pod bros on the right have gotten their orders. You know, let's float the trial balloons of the Insurrection Act, see what happens, see how it goes, because we got to, like, you know, we got to soften the blow here because they're going to do it. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious, but Scott Jennings has been upfront and center saying, well, it's time. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Well,
and that is a very, very, very dangerous thing to be doing. Very dangerous.
You want to open the door to that, buddy?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But I will say this, and this is, mark my words, people like Scott better understand this. No Democrat I know is voting for another Joe Biden. Not going to happen.
No.
Democrats want justice.
Yep.
And if you want to open up this door and you want to invoke the Insurrection Act because a bunch of people in Minnesota are peacefully protesting the fact that your Gestapo is coming and arresting their neighbors, okay, buddy. But let me tell you something. One day there's going to be a Democratic president, and one day there's going to be a Democratic Congress. And guess what laws are going to be passed to harm you?
Yeah.
And when you protest those laws, like the Tea Party did in 2009, and showed up to every Democratic town hall accusing every Democrat who voted for Obamacare of being a Nazi, guess what?
Yeah.
Maybe that'll mirror the Insurrection Act too. Is that really how you want to go down this road?
Yeah.
Because people don't have the right to free protest anymore? Okay. Okay.
Yeah. That's the thing about rights. Like, once they're gone, they're kind of gone.
They're gone. They're gone. And as we talked about this the other day, you want your Second Amendment rights? Really? Okay.
Be comfortable with everyone exercising them, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's what it's coming to. That's what it's coming to. And you know, and again, to the point of Scott Jennings being the kind of person, again, who has worked in Republican politics for decades, he knows better. And
he came out of, he's the most establishment guy in the world. He came out of
100%. He's an Elise Stefanik type. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, part of the furniture. And you know, I think it was Johnny said in the chat just a bit ago that on the panel, people were giving a couple examples of when he has gone after men, and one of them was Stuart Stevens. He said, had said to him, you know, man, you don't need to do this. Now, I didn't see that, so I'm just going off of what Johnny said. and apparently Scott Jennings flipped out. Now, he flipped out probably for a couple of reasons. Number one, he doesn't like to be called out. And number two, he certainly does not want to be called out by a Southern former Republican who, was part of like the emeritus, of the Republican consultants for decades, then he really has to hold up a mirror to himself. And I mean, that's probably why he flipped out even more. They don't like to hear it from their own. And they don't like to hear it from women.
Oh, they really don't like to hear it from women. They
Right.
don't like to hear it from women. I don't know if Stuart Stevens ever, got banned from being on with Scott, but I'll tell you right now,
Probably not.
mark my word.
Stuart's very, very calm. Like, you know what I mean? When he does these things, he has a way about him. He doesn't get riled up, which I think makes people even more angry. I worked with Stuart for many years, and yeah.
I don't typically get riled up either, but I will say, let me speak without interrupting me. That's all I ask. And if CNN's not going to give somebody the common courtesy of doing that, then as far as I'm concerned, you don't deserve to have me on your show anymore. You just don't.
Yeah.
You just don't. So that's that. Goodbye, CNN. I don't know if I'll ever be invited back. I'm curious. I'm curious, Michelle, after whether
I think this is an experiment, right?
Experiment. Let's see if CNN can actually take
Let's see how guilty they are of all of your accusations. Do you know what I mean?
Let's see if they actually do have the guts to bring me back on. But I'll tell you right now, it better come with a stiff, I don't know about apology, I'll never get that, but a stiff commitment that I'm going to say what I say and nobody's going to cut me off.
Yep.
Because that's bullshit. It's bullshit to shut women down and constantly talk over them. And it happens all the time. And as I said, he's a little fucking toddler who, because
he's a bitch. He's a little bitch.
Getting his ass handed to him, he decided to flip the board. Oh, I'm losing. Oh, let me flip the board.
And that's the thing, is like, as confident and loudly as he lies, there is this like deeply insecure little man inside of him who cannot stand being told that he's wrong.
Yep.
And it's so transparent. It's so obvious. And how sad for him if he wasn't such a dangerous person. How sad.
It is sad for him. He obviously, has
some issues.
Some daddy issues he needs to go work out. I guess the orange daddy in the White House is giving him, in his mind, all the scraps.
Yes, must fillet take orange daddy. Yeah.
Does Scott Jennings have a family? Yes, he does. I've met his children. He certainly does.
Yes, and thanks to everybody who's joining on Substack. I'm taking a look over this over here, and thanks everybody, because it seems pretty much from all I'm seeing, everyone agrees with you, Julie. So I'm thanking you for saying this.
Well, all right, you guys, it's getting a little late here on the East Coast. We were not planning on doing this. I'd
already like washed my face and got ready for bed, and I was like, okay, getting back up. Let me get dressed. Yeah. But you know what? Sometimes these things, they need to be said in the immediate. And, here we are.
Here we are. All right, everybody. Good to see you all. For those of you who may just be joining us for the first time today, Michelle and I, tomorrow is a holiday, so we're not doing it tomorrow. But tomorrow, not tomorrow, but starting on Tuesday, we do this every weekday, 8 a.m. Eastern, over on the Mayday Network on YouTube. Come join us for the Mayday Morning Show. Yeah. And every Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern, come join us for Saturdays for Sanity. And we've got a bunch of other shows that Michelle and I don't do together, but separately on the Mayday Network. So come subscribe, like and subscribe to the Mayday Network.
Like and subscribe. And to everybody else who has no idea who I am Michelle Kinney. I am the co-founder of this Mayday Network with Julie Roginsky, and we are the Mayday Network. And thanks everybody for tuning in wherever you are. And we'll see y'all soon.
Yes.
Bye, everyone. Bye.